You're listening to the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. I'm Allison Boyle, aka She Dreams of Alpine, and this is the show that's dedicated to all the adventurous spirits out there who have either been transformed by the outdoors or are interested in what it looks like to step into a new, adventurous, and courageous kind of identity in their life. It doesn't matter what your background is in the outdoors, what age you're starting at, or where you grew up. If you're curious about the outdoors and using adventure as a way to reinvent yourself, you're in the right place. I'll be sharing all kinds of personal adventure stories, lessons I've learned from the mountains, teaching what I know about the outdoors and leadership, and interviewing some amazing adventurous women all along the way. I've been coaching women on becoming safe, confident, and self-sufficient backpackers and leaders of their own adventurous lives since 2018, and I know exactly what big fears and self-doubts can pop up along the way. I have so much to share with you, so let's dive in. Hello everyone, it's Allison, and before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to just kind of give a quick announcement. So I'm taking a little summer break from the podcast. I've got some very exciting personal adventures planned for the summer and also some really epic client trips that are coming up on the horizon. So this pause is really just to give me and my team a little space to breathe and reset and focus in other areas of our business right now. But I didn't want to leave you hanging with nothing to listen to over the summer. So I am going to be sharing something really special. I'm going to be sharing a behind the scenes audio series from my hike on the John Muir Trail. So my husband Michael and I set out to thru-hike the John Muir Trail back in 2020. So that is a while ago now. We were aiming to finish it in 22 days, but due to some massive wildfires and a full national forest closure, we had to bail early. This is something we definitely didn't expect. So this series, for some reason, we decided to record like a daily podcast back then. This was before I even had the podcast. But this series is going to be showing you a real, raw, behind the scenes audio that we recorded on the trail when we were out there doing the John Muir Trail, as we dealt with all the highs, the lows, the relationship dynamics, and also the huge disappointment of getting kicked off the trail early in 2020, and then our eventual comeback in 2021 to finish it. So if you have ever dreamed of hiking the JMT, or you just love a good adventure story, you are going to love these sort of like bite-sized episodes that are coming up of our kind of behind the scenes trail diary. This is something that I've never released before. So I really think you're going to enjoy this, and it will kind of like fill that, adventure itch that you might be getting while we're taking a little break from our normal episodes. And this series will run through about mid-August, and then we will be back with fresh episodes on the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. If you're listening to this kind of midway in the series, be sure to go back and listen to previous episodes. But at the end of the day, I hope you enjoy this and that it's a nice little kind of thing to get you excited about your own adventures and maybe even eventually pursuing the John Muir Trail one day. All right, let's dive in. Hello. This is Allison and Michael.
Hello.
Coming to you at the JMT podcast. This is day
11, right?
I guess this would be like day 23, technically.
21?
But for us in this segment, it's
23.
Or it's 11.
Because we did 12.
No, wait, 11. Anyways.
So 23.
I don't think people care that much. Anyways, so this is our basically last full day.
Yes.
On the JMT. Today we woke up at Cathedral and then hiked all the way to Little Yosemite Valley, which is basically 5 miles from the end of the trailhead. And
so tomorrow we only have 5 miles.
Yeah, 5 miles. We're just going to wake up and pound them out in the morning. And we could have done them today, but we have a hotel booked for tomorrow, and we were like, well,
yeah, and
we'll just wait.
We had cleaned the van pretty nicely before this, and so sleeping in it the way we are right now,
yeah, very gross.
Undo that real quick.
Yeah, we would have to spend a lot of time cleaning the van after sleeping in how we're sleeping in it right now.
And it'll be nice to. We have a place we want to have lunch, so if we get there at the time we think we're gonna get there, it'll be around lunchtime.
Yeah.
So,
I guess we'll get back to that. So for today, we woke up at a decent time, and it actually wasn't that cold this morning. So
Yeah.
we woke up at like 7 at Cathedral Lake, which was just beautiful. Really good campsite.
Yeah, it was really nice. Kind of up on a rock, a slab of rock, but it was a divot full of sand. So it was nice because it was nice and rocky. We had a few trees around us, but we weren't sleeping on actual rock.
Yeah. And
we were actually able to put the stakes in.
We woke up this morning and then made our way up because we stayed at Lower Cathedral Lake and it's not Upper Cathedral Lake. And so we made our way up towards Upper Cathedral Lake, and we had a little bit of uphill this morning to get to the Cathedral Pass. But then most of our day was downhill.
It was, yeah.
And it was like, it was really pretty because in Yosemite, you're just surrounded by like all of these sweeping granite domes and features and...
Yeah, it's like a sea of granite, basically. So, which you see a lot of in the national forest and earlier in the trip, but
this
Yosemite's
is different.
so unique.
It's like they're like more domes and like really
and you're
features.
you're kind of up on it, so you're kind of looking down at some points into the granite structures or features, as opposed to earlier on the trip, you're just kind of like in it. You're like in at the bottom and you're surrounded by walls of granite, which is still pretty epic. But unique Yosemite's just so unique. It's so, there's nothing like it. So it was cool, especially coming out of the little valley we were at after Donahue Pass that had the river. This definitely today had total 100% Yosemite vibes.
But one thing we had to be careful of is that we had heard a rumor that the rivers are pretty dried up between Cathedral and Little Yosemite Valley. So, and that ended up being really true. But we had to like conserve our water. Fortunately, we were mostly going downhill. But Michael and I only had like 2 liters of water each between Cathedral Lake and it was about 14 miles to get to Little Yosemite Valley from there.
Yeah, it was a bit dry. Not surprising. When we dropped the car off, it was all the waterfalls and everything seemed to be really dry. So luckily, it didn't really get super hot until maybe the last
little bit of downhill.
3 miles.
Which that was weird too. We like entered a section of the trail that was where there had been a big fire. I cannot remember right now off the top of my head when that fire was, but it was
at least
several years ago.
Yeah.
And it was near Half Dome. I remember this because I remember some people having to get like heli-vaced off of the Half Dome area.
Mm-hmm. Kind of below Clouds Rest, right?
Yeah, it's like before you get to the Clouds Rest Half Dome Junction, but that area, it's all the trees are burned. And what was weird is that the trail was like so overgrown. So we were hiking through these super thorny bushes, which is like fine. It's happened before in other trails, but never on the JMT. Like, has there been a point where felt like we were bushwhacking a little bit? But this felt like a little bit like that because you could see the trail and you knew you were following it, but it was these just thorny bushes for about a mile.
They were touching from either side, so you're walking literally, you're plowing right through them.
And
so we weren't sure if it's like a new trail that they needed to build after the fire, or if that trail just was out of service for a while and things just grew in.
I don't know if it was out of service. I just don't know if they've done any trail maintenance to it or anything. But
it's interesting.
I did this trail I did this maybe like 5 years ago, the Half Dome to Tuolumne, and I don't remember it being like that, but that was before it was the fire, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and they were,
we kept thinking, we kept thinking like, is this right? Are we on the right trail? And then I would check my maps and I would check my GPS and I'm like, well, we're still going the right direction. So,
and there was a sign.
There were signs
at the junction right before that whole bushwhacking thing started.
But it was just strange.
Mind you, this is like, there's like waist high bushes. It's not like crazy jungle bush, but
but they were very thorny.
it was just so odd. Yeah, you're like walking amongst these burnt trees, which is actually kind of cool in a way, because beyond the trees you have like these cool views of Granite mountains. But those bushes, man, we got a few cuts. But yeah, that lasted about a mile. That's around when it started getting a little warm, but not too bad.
And then we thought originally about camping at the junction of Cloud's Rest Trail and I forget what river it is, but that river was very low, and we just decided to push on to I think it was Sunrise Creek. It was like basically a trickle, so we decided to push the extra 1.8 miles down to Little Yosemite Valley, which actually I think we would have done anyways,
right,
just to make our tomorrow short.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of the last couple of days while here in Yosemite?
My favorite
so
part.
far. And you can't count the snacks. You can't count the kettle chips you had at the Tuolumne Meadows store.
My favorite part of the last few days. I really liked our campground last night in Cathedral Lakes. That was really nice. And then I also enjoyed our campground the night before too.
Yes.
I got that, like the Ireland Trail Junction.
Yeah, that's a tough one between
just hanging out.
I liked yesterday. By the way, so we actually woke up to smoke this morning, and it had us a little worried because here we are like 2 days away from finishing this thing, and we thought we were safe, and we had heard of a Tuolumne Meadows fire, but it was very small, and apparently it was like whatever, it was almost contained. And we had heard about this probably when we got to Donahue Pass. And so we're thinking, oh crap, did that fire get out of hand? Because that happens. Fires are almost contained and they get out of hand again. But we freaked out for a while until we saw a couple that was day hiking as we were packing our camp up, and they told us it was a controlled fire. So luckily, nothing to be worried about. But
does this have something to do with your favorite part of the trail?
Quite smoking. Well, no, I just remembered that, and I didn't want to forget to say that. But no, yesterday was probably my favorite because, so I took some, as I mentioned in the podcast prior to some astrophotography there. And so I forced myself to sit outside and take photos. And that's the first time in the whole trip that I've actually had the energy to do that. And I actually got to sit amongst the stars, and we were in a place that wasn't completely covered by trees, so I had a pretty good view of the Milky Way. So that was really cool. You were in the tent being lame, but...
Well, I did see the Milky Way. I wasn't being lame the whole time, but I was cold and I was in the tent. But another one of my favorite parts is just anytime I can speak my words. Anytime we come into Little Yosemite Valley or the Half Dome area, actually I have such nostalgic memories of being here because this was my very first backpacking trip. This was my very first campground where I backpacked, and the Merced River was the very first place I filtered water backpacking. I just have all these memories, and I told Michael, I was I remember eating a Mountain House mac and cheese.
It blew your mind.
And I was like, this is so good. What? Was dehydrated. It was crazy. And
yeah. Wait, sorry. Finish what you're saying.
Oh, and I just like being here, even though this is not your typical campground that's secluded. There's a lot of people here. I just always have memories being here. And
tell them the difference in times from the first time you did it to the second time.
I was telling Michael how the first time I climbed up the Mist Trail to get to Little Yosemite Valley, which is a campground, because the first time I did it, I basically never hiked or backpacked much of anything ever before, and my pack was 45 pounds, and I think it took me 9 hours just to hike from the 5 miles from the valley into the Little Yosemite Valley campground. And then I did it 5 years later I did the Happy Isle to Tuolumne as a backpacking trip again. And I remember telling my friend Ashima, we did that 5-mile stretch in about 3.5 or 4 hours.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
Yeah, so it's crazy to see like how much you...
Not that it's a race, but it's progress you notice.
Yeah, progress you notice. Like,
and for those of you...
It was very hard for me the first time, but still sparked something enough in me to keep like wanting to learn more about backpacking and get more into it. And,
right.
Yeah.
And for reference, if nobody has that, we've been doing, over 12 miles sometimes in 10 hours. Sometimes 14 miles in 10 hours.
We with stops, we average between 1.5
that's
to
cruising.
2 miles per hour. It just depends on the type of day, how much elevation gain.
Now, mind you,
we're
also,
not racing either, so...
Yeah, and to be fair, the Half Dome hike, which I've never actually done, but you've told me about it, has a lot of gain. A lot more gain than we've been doing in a single day of hiking.
Well, if you do the whole thing at once.
Thing in a day.
But I didn't. My first backpacking trip, we camped here, and then the next day we did the Half Dome.
But it's still, what did you say, 5,000?
It's something like that. I don't remember off
it's
the
a
top
big
of
day.
my head. If you hike it, from the bottom all the way to the top, it's a really big day.
Well, I've never done the Half Dome hike, and you said you tried getting permits so we can maybe squeeze it in, but we didn't have any luck with that. But it's been cool seeing it from this perspective. I've never seen it coming up on this side and from behind, which is where we are right now. We're literally behind it in Little Yosemite Valley. I've never been in this campground either, so it's nice getting that view of it. One of these days, I gotta get a ticket off.
But we still technically have 5 miles left to do in the morning, so we're not done.
Nope. We're going to have dinner now.
And enjoy our last evening without cell service.
Yes.
But anyways, so bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, I wanted to thank you real quick for tuning into the show and listening all the way to the end. If you love this episode and you want deeper support in becoming a safe, confident, and self-sufficient hiker and backpacker, then head over to shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist to learn more about our Backpacking Badass coaching program, where I teach you absolutely everything you need to know to be self-reliant on the trails and stop waiting around on others for the adventure invite. So I'd love to help you more in your journey of stepping into your adventurous identity, and that program is the absolute best place for us to start working together. So again, that's shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist, and you can learn all about it there. So that's it for today, folks. I hope you get to spend some time outside this week, and I'll be back very soon with a brand new episode. Bye.